This is Shelley Kraft coming to you live on SNNLive. We're at the 16th Annual B. Riley & Company Investor Conference in Hollywood, California. I have with me Alexander Hockman, NV5. It's a publicly traded company, and the symbol is NVEE. A lot of vowels in there at the end.
Yes, there are. Thank you, Shelley. I appreciate the opportunity.
Well, thanks for coming. Let's get right into it with an overview on the company.
Certainly. NV5 is a professional, technical, and engineering services company, and we provide our services through our 5 verticals. That includes construction quality assurance, infrastructure, program management, environmental, and energy.
So, Alexander, let me ask you, give me an example of a typical client.
So our typical clients could include a government agency, and the services that we would provide could start initially in the design phase, where we provide geotechnical engineering services. And that's in the due diligence. It's a very initial phase of a construction project. And because of the other design services that we provide, we work all the way through from the design phase to the construction phase, and even after completion, we provide environmental services that cover indoor air quality and other services that are necessary for the ongoing operation of the project.
Wow, that sounds like, so you're really the outside interest. They bring you in and they don't need the infrastructure in their own company? Is that kind of where I see it?
Actually, in many cases, that is exactly what we provide. For example, we provide a code consulting service, and in many cases, the school board will outsource the entire code consulting to our company. There's also smaller municipalities that may not have that infrastructure, and our employees will then serve, and essentially, except for the fact that they're wearing a shirt that says NV5, you wouldn't be able to distinguish them from the actual government employee.
Now, that's interesting, because that's like contracted services. That's a very interesting business.
It is a very interesting business for us, and it's one that we see that's growing, because as the development of private sector work starts to increase, in many cases the government isn't able to keep up pace, so they need to use private contractors and outside services to provide what are traditionally been considered government type services.
Well, you're probably getting contractors working for you who used to do that role in some of these larger companies and now have decided to come on board with you, so they diversify what they do every day.
Actually, in many cases, particularly on the code consulting side, we are employing former government employees, and there's already the comfort level because they know they have the skill set. The contracting entity knows they have the skill set, and we're able to seamlessly transition and provide the services internally.
So how did you decide that there was such a large need for your service, and which gave you your business model?
Well, first of all of our managers are from operations. We have independently owned our own companies for many of us, and we are very familiar and embedded in the industry. So as a result, we have grown with the growth of our client base. And initially, as for the geotechnical and materials testing side, it was very common that that was all the services they provided. And then as the client's needs grew, they expanded into environmental services, and they've expanded into the code consulting services. On the infrastructure side, we've seen the same thing. Municipalities that have required that additional expertise that they would have by having the engineer be in-house and work with them through the project. So there's been a natural growth in the industry that we've been able to appreciate and realize within our company.
Don't the government agencies save money using you?
In many cases they can, in large part because when they hire an employee, there's usually a much longer term that the employee is expected to work there. They don't have the ability to quickly ramp up and ramp down. So particularly if there's going to be an increase in a particular market sector, it's much easier for them to have a contract where they subcontract with us as opposed to trying to develop that skill in-house.
So I have a 2-part question.
Okay.
First part is, how do you get your new clients? And the second part is, where do you get recurring revenues from?
Excellent. So we're very proud to say on the second part that we have about a 90% recurring revenue stream. Once we have a client, we appreciate that that client is our lifeblood for the future, and we do everything we can to make sure that we are satisfying the needs of that particular client. We also operate under a seller-doer model. So our managers, our business unit managers, our regional chief executives are embedded in the community, and they understand what is taking place, what are the new trends for that particular environment. We also do a lot of market research. We understand what municipal capital improvement project budgets are, what are the type of entity, what type of structures and projects that they're going to be developing, and we see how we can mesh our service line with what's being provided. And that gives us a little bit of an upside to realize when an RFP, a request for proposal, will hit the street, so that we're already pre-positioning ourselves as opposed to waiting and then trying to respond once the proposal hits the street.
And I have to ask you, in looking at the future, where do you see the bulk of new business coming from in terms of projects? Is it from water treatment? Is it from power and generating power, whether it be solar or windmills or wind energy? Where do you see that future coming?
So in our infrastructure side, I don't think there's any question. They're anticipating that $3 trillion plus is going to be necessary between now and 2020. And as such, we're well positioned to be in a place where we are going to be able to assist on a full range of those projects, be it transportation, bridges, roadways, infrastructure relative to water, wastewater. So our service lines that we currently provide and the current expertise that's held within our company is well suited for the infrastructure boom that we're now starting to see and will continue to see for many years to come.
So Alexander, what's your background?
I'm a licensed professional engineer, and I'm the president and chief operating officer of NV5. I had started my own consulting firm in 1985, and in 2003 was acquired by a global inspection, testing, and certification company. At the time of the acquisition, Dickerson Wright, who is our CEO, was the CEO of this particular company, and we've had a great working relationship ever since, and very proud to be part of NV5.
It sounds like you have a nice working environment.
We do.
Now, for more information, let's get your website out there.
The website is NV5.com.
It's easy enough, ladies and gentlemen. Alexander Hockman, NV5, publicly traded company, NVEE. I'm Shelley Kraft. This is SNNLive, and we're coming to you live from the 16th Annual B. Riley & Company Investor Conference in Hollywood, California. Alexander, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Shelley.
You're welcome.